Хүний зүрх сэтгэл өөр өнгөөр гэрэлтэж, амьдралаас авсан сургамж туулсан замналж, харилцан адилгүй байдаг. Ийм л дахин давтагдашгүй хэрнээ энгийн түүхийг хүргэдэг. That's my story булангийн маань энэ удаагийн дугаарт Сингапурын хүүхдийн номын зохиогч, зураач Сиюань хүндэт зочноор оролцлоо. Тэрээр Бүргэдчин хүүгийн тухай Монголд бүтсэн номынхон түүхийг амьдралынхаа ослог мөчүүдтэй хамтдаа хуваалцсныг хүлээн авна.
Over time I felt like the eyes spoke a different language that was much softer, much kinder, much more like a teacher, like a guardian, like a protector. After I lost her, my way of dealing with the loss was just to get myself really busy and get over it. I would like to dedicate this book to my mom. I'm Siyuan. I am an author and an artist. I normally kind of paint our connection with the world and nature and how it, kind of in turn connects with us in beautiful ways. First drawn to Mongolia because it's one of those amazing places in the world where you have such expansive, vast nature and allows for people like me at that time to find quiet and silence. And that was really what drew me to Mongolia in the first place, like the beauty of the nature and the space and the quiet. Broadly speaking, two things. Nature and how it's so pristine and kind of peaceful. At the same time, I think culture, how the local nomads actually had such a wonderful way of living that's almost in line with the rhythms of nature there that really left a deep impression in me. My experience with Mongolia's nature and culture over time, so that ever since my first kind of entry into the wilderness here in 2018, I've tried to come back almost every year, apart from the COVID years, and I felt closer and deeper to the nature here, and I learned a lot actually from the nomadic culture. Before coming to Mongolia, actually, I felt my world was quite busy, quite noisy. And since coming here, I felt that there was a way to actually just cut out the noise and cut out the connection with all things tech and cut out the speed and being trapped in fast forward, to be kind of constantly kind of realigned with nature's rhythms, with a different way of being. I didn't think I will be making a picture book. The picture book just wanted to be written, I think, quite naturally. I think I had, first of all, an amazing experience with this young eagle hunter who, I think initially, his name is Beku, right? Initially he wasn't very interested to connect anyways, but he was kind of fascinated by the camera I had. And because of that, I think, he took me to all the amazing places that only he knew. And then one time he had to let his eagle go, and he said, "Hey, can you can you do a favor for me? Can you take a picture of me and my eagle properly?" I said, "Yeah, for sure, but why after 5 weeks, right?" That's when I realized that he had to let his eagle go, and he wanted a proper memento. But it's also that letting go experience that made me kind of an interesting kind of experience with the stars. And because many years ago I lost my mom, actually, and my way of dealing with loss and grief, right, was to keep myself really busy with work and this and that. But because on the night of the letting go, he said for me to stay there on my own, and for him to go home and get some space, right? And it was because I had an experience with the stars. I thought, I heard my mom. She said, "Sin, I'm everywhere. Even if you can't see me now, know that I'm always with you and Papa and everyone, the family in it." And I went back to tell him, but he couldn't. I feel like the best way for me to express what I experienced was in painting. So the first thing that happened was painting I made for him, but over the years, the picture book kind of wrote itself from behind. So one of the final pages was the first gift I gave him, but over years, right, it became a picture book. Therefore, it's kind of quite strange. Like the picture book wasn't a conscious decision that I want to make, but it kind of was born out of the experience. My first impression was it's very ferocious, it's very strong, and its eyes, for me, initially looked very fierce. But over time, especially when I saw how and the ego connected, the eyes spoke a different language actually. It spoke of a language that felt like it was guiding, it was pointing the way, it was caring. There was a more sensitive side to just being fierce and ferocious. I remember once Beku told me, because I asked Beku actually, what's your relationship with your ego? Is it like your best friend? Is it like your family? Is it like a teacher? He says everything, but it's more than that. It's like beyond human. I said, oh, in what way? He said, with my ego I can say everything, and I could share all my secrets and they remain secret. I could share all my deepest, darkest kind of thoughts, and I thought it's quite interesting. Like we all not perfect, and sometimes we have to deal and confront our demons, right? I think that's really interesting. I mean, because the picture book can't contain a lot, but he shared a lot that made me think, yeah, you know, from time to time it's good to come face to face with, you know, everything in our head, good and bad, and sometimes it means you know, kind of being truthful about it. And that was one thing I think didn't make its way into the picture book, but I thought was very important. But because at the end he told me that I think I'll miss my ego in so many ways, but more importantly, I can't tell anyone any secrets anymore. I can't, you know, I can't deal with my demons the way I was able to with the ego. And I thought it was really quite powerful. After he let go, and I met him again and again and again, he never had a new ego, and he was, because Beku's quite an interesting character. I mean, when I met him, he was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. He is quite an interesting character, and he's not as macho, and he's actually quite a quiet, boyish character. So sometimes I meet other eagle hunters who are maybe at the same age, and you get the impression that they look much older, much more macho, whereas he's still very boyish, very quiet, and he never had a new ego. But this year when I met him, I just came back from, he had a girlfriend now, and he has a new ego. I think what was really touching also is a story that started from Mongolia, actually was kind of released in Paris, made its way to Singapore. You know, I think the reviews is the story has actually touched a lot of people who have had to journey through loss, right? And it's brought some solace. And then I think a couple of weeks ago, the story that started here made its way back here into the countryside. So a lot of young kids, they're also kind of engaging with the story, and yeah, it's really touching. So I'm working on a new body of work, and it also involves birds. Okay, the way I work, whether it's writing or painting, I feel blocks. I face the creative blocks quite frequently, almost every day. But it's the work ethic that we bring to the table or bring to the canvas that I also enjoy. That for me, to get myself unstuck, I often do a couple of things. So painting and writing for me is quite a sonic experience actually. I always have music on, and it helps actually. It helps if I'm stuck to change the track or listen to a different thing and be guided by it. So that's one way. Second, I meditate every morning because we're living in a world where there's so much data, so much information, that sometimes unconsciously it becomes very full with information that meditation helps. It kind of simplifies everything, or silences the world. When I'm working in Singapore and Shanghai, I tend to step out for a walk or go to the beach sometimes, just to be in some form of nature. Because nature has its way of just having us realign ourselves, and I feel that's very helpful to get myself unstuck. Mostly kind of instrumental music that has no lyrics. I also listen to mantras. I think it's got to do with how I operate as well. Like my creative process is actually quite guided. Often, say for example, if you look at the painting in the picture book, I would start by kind of I don't actually use a lot of like charcoal to sketch things out. I do, but it's a rough kind of thing, and I'm quite guided by whatever comes to me. So it's with music and also with mantras or whatever that I feel I work with. It makes its way into its painting. So my process is of painting, of any painting, usually it starts off quite nice and clean and it gets really messy. And it helps actually because painting allows me to deal with all the messiness and provides the space for turning the mess into some kind of magic, because it's a very fine line. Because I think my younger self can be quite kind of self-conscious, that nothing is really good enough, but maybe what we have to offer doesn't have to be perfect, you know. It can be broken, it could be flawed, it could be, and I think I would tell my younger self, I think that it's actually completely okay if things are not 100% great or perfect. It could still be, you know, kind of meaningful and beautiful. I think I would tell my younger self that, and be less self-conscious as a, yeah. I still feel like I'm not in any position to maybe give anyone advice when it comes to this, because I'm still learning actually. But what I would do is encourage someone going through loss to first be in touch with our heart, because the connection that's here is always here, and we never lose anyone or anything we love, because it's, as long as it's here, we're always connected. I think that would be what I would do. I lost her in 2014 when I was still working in London at that time, and when she passed on, it was very quick. And I think at that time I never really had the opportunity to say everything I wanted to say, partly because of me, partly because in Asia we just never really expressed a lot of our feelings. So, you know, after I lost her, my way of dealing with the loss was just to get myself really busy and get over it. And then in Mongolia, when I had the chance to, or the experience, right, under the stars, to talk to her again, right? It's like a cosmic phone call. I remember saying, "Mom, I love you. You know, I miss you," something like that, or something. And the conversation went on. I thought, yeah, it's something that was very necessary, and because the story also of Beku was also to do with loss, I thought I would like to dedicate this book to my mom. So that's my story, and I'm Siyuan.